All right, let's just dive right in. Have you ever stopped to think about how our universe seems to be following a really strict set of rules? I mean, for some completely bizarre reason, it seems like those rules are all written in the language of math. But this whole relationship between these abstract numbers we've come up with and the physical reality all around us, well, it's way stranger and a lot deeper than you might think. And this right here, this is the central mystery, isn't it? The universe follows equations that we, humans, just invented. It's like there's this cosmic contract that was signed, but the universe never even held the pen. So why does it go along with it? Why does reality just act as if it's reading our physics textbooks and just sort of nodding in agreement? And I really want to be crystal clear on this point. This isn't some loose metaphor. The way the universe obeys these rules isn't approximate or poetic. No, it's a cold, literal, and unbelievably precise fact. From the grand sweep of a planet making its way around the sun to the weird quantum jitters of a single atom, reality just conforms to these logical games we built inside our own heads. Okay, so this gets right to the heart of an assumption most of us just carry around without ever thinking about it. We were kind of taught that math is just out there, like a feature of the universe that we just discover, like finding a new law of physics. But the really unsettling truth, it looks more like we invented it. The symbols, the rules, the entire game, it's a human creation from the ground up. This quote just hits the nail on the head. Nature has objects, sure, but we're the ones who do the counting. We decide what counts as one of something versus two of something. The universe itself never puts a label on anything. The number 2 has no physical form in an atom or a sunbeam. It only exists as an idea in our minds. The great physicist Richard Feynman had a brilliant take on this. He pointed out that we learn basic arithmetic so young that we confuse how familiar it is with it being some kind of fundamental truth. We don't even remember learning that 1 + 1 = 2, so it just feels inevitable, like it couldn't possibly be any other way. But that's all it is, a feeling. It's not a proof. So the crucial point is this: math is really just a self-contained game. Its only absolute requirement is that it has to follow its own rules. Seriously, we could invent a system where 2 + 2 = 5, and as long as we were consistent with that rule throughout the system, it would be a perfectly valid piece of mathematics. And in fact, most mathematical systems that people invent describe absolutely nothing in the physical world. They're just beautiful, logical games. And this right here brings us to the core paradox. If math is just this arbitrary game of symbols that we made up, then why is it so ridiculously, unreasonably effective at describing the universe? Why does this invented game give us the power to predict real-world events with such breathtaking accuracy? Let's take a perfect example. Imaginary numbers. You cannot hold the square root of -1. You can't measure it, you can't find it under a rock, it's not anywhere in nature. It was literally invented just to make certain equations work out a bit more neatly. It's purely abstract. And yet, our entire modern world runs on these so-called imaginary numbers. If you take them away, huge chunks of engineering and physics just completely fall apart. Your electrical circuits become unpredictable, quantum mechanics becomes completely incomprehensible. So how can a number that doesn't even exist in the real world be so absolutely essential to manipulating that exact same reality? This story is it's stunning. The physicist Paul Dirac, he wasn't even looking for a new particle. He was just trying to clean up an equation for electrons, make it more elegant, more mathematically consistent. And when he did that, the math itself just spat out a prediction for a particle that no one had ever seen or even dreamed of. Years later, experimental physicists found it, the positron, exactly as the math demanded. It's like the math knew something about reality before we did. So how do we get our heads around this? Let's try an analogy. Think of all the different mathematical systems we can invent as a giant collection of keys, and then think of the physical universe as one single, really complex lock. What's actually happening here is a kind of selection process. Mathematicians are over in their world inventing thousands of abstract keys, often just out of pure curiosity. Then, physicists come along, grab these keys, and start trying them on the lock of reality. Now, most of them don't fit. They get tossed aside. But the very, very few that happen to turn the lock, those are the ones that get kept and celebrated and used in science. So this whole thing creates the illusion of a perfect miracle match, but it's actually just a filtering process. We only ever see the successful keys. But Here's where the whole story takes a fascinating turn. Because once we solve the mystery of why the key is so effective, we uncover a much deeper, more fundamental mystery. The miracle, it turns out, isn't the key. The miracle is that we have a lock that any key can open in the first place. You see, we've been asking the wrong question all along. The old mystery was, why does our math describe the universe? But the real mystery, the one that's much deeper, is why does the universe have a describable structure at all? Why is it orderly enough that any logical system could map it? Think of it like a zip file on your computer. Math is a super powerful compression algorithm for reality. You can summarize the entire flight of a baseball into one short, neat equation. But here's the thing about compression. You can only compress something that has a pattern or a structure. You can't compress pure randomness. The fact that math works at all is proof that the universe isn't just random chaos. And this leads us to a really fundamental insight. The equation for gravity isn't what makes a rock fall. The rock is just falling. The equation is our map, our neat, human-made map that describes that consistent behavior. The universe doesn't run on math. Math works because it's running on a universe that is shockingly consistent. So for centuries, we've been mesmerized by the power and the beauty of this mathematical mirror we've created. But we've been focusing on the wrong miracle. The true wonder isn't the mirror itself. It's the fact that there's a stable, ordered, and absolutely breathtaking reality out there for it to reflect in the first place. And this is the ultimate question. This is where physics, right now, just goes silent. Why this order? Why are there stable patterns and consistent laws at all? There's no logical reason the universe had to be predictable. And yet, here we are, living in a cosmos that has a deep structure, a structure that, somehow, our minds can actually begin to understand and map out. Why? Well, that's the real mystery.